Hello, period 8. Welcome to Target 2.3, part 2, continuing with bisectors. So we're going to first start with a segment bisector. Remember that bisect means to cut in half. And the key word in our definition, the key words here, are congruent segments. So a segment bisector is a point, line, segment, or ray that divides one segment into two congruent segments. And I thought we could reintroduce a word from chapter 1. So we're going to get some extra practice with the word midpoint. A segment bisector intersects a segment at its midpoint. Let's take a look at some exciting examples. So we're going to do three things. We're going to mark the diagram with tick marks. We're going to name the congruent segments and then write a statement about a midpoint. So it says that line MP bisects segment ST. So we're going to do a short review from English class. This is the subject of the sentence that's doing the action. In this case, that's the bisecting. And this segment is receiving the action. It's the one getting bisected. So segment ST is the segment that's getting cut in half. So segment SA is congruent to segment AT. So we put tick marks on the picture and we can write our sentence. Segment SA is congruent to segment AT. And now that we have our picture labeled, we know that point A is the midpoint. We can just abbreviate midpoint of segment ST. Awesome. Let's try another one. Segment JR bisects segment FG. So here FG is receiving the action. So segment FG is the segment getting cut in half into two congruent segments. So segment FH is congruent to segment HG. And now that we have that labeled and written, we know that point H is the midpoint of segment FG. Now I'm going to encourage you to pause this video so you can do the you try problem on your own. So do the same three things that we just practiced and then press play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, let's see what happened. Segment LV bisects segment OE. So OE is getting divided in half into two congruent segments. Segment OV is congruent to segment VE. And now we know that point V is the midpoint of segment OE. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. Let's continue. Now we're going to add a new word, and that word is perpendicular. That's one of the biggest words we ever get in this class. So let's focus on two parts. We already know the word bisector. That's going to give us the two congruent segments. The perpendicular part forms right angles. And we have a symbol that we use for perpendicular. Maybe you've seen it. It's an upside down T. Because guess what? You could even see some right angles if you look real close. But we don't, whoops, too far. But we don't put those when we just draw the symbol. All right, so we'll do this number 3. Line M is the perpendicular bisector of segment DB. So before we even do anything, let's label what we know from that. So it says perpendicular, so we can draw one right angle there, or we could draw it there, or we could just draw them both, whatever makes you happiest. So there's the perpendicular part, and then there's the bisector part. So let's go back over here, see what we can do. The measure of angle ACD, so that's labeled in green. That's a perfect 90-degree right angle. What segments are congruent? They're labeled on the picture. Segment DC is congruent to segment CB. And then we'll fill in the statement with whatever color makes you happy right now. Point C is the midpoint of segment DB. Quick reminder for all my beautiful friends that are going to be doing some retakes. Don't forget that when we're doing lines and rays and segments, that the hat is important. All right, I'll see you back here in just a little bit.